5,500 years ago, the Sumerian people of Mesopotamia developed the first system of writing, now called cuneiform. A reed was used to inscribe soft, damp clay tablets with various types of symbols. These inscriptions communicated the language of the day. They are the earliest human voices we hear. They connect us to a time and people that we could otherwise only imagine. These clay tablets give us a clear picture of society and culture at the beginning of civilization, as well as the character of the people, their beliefs and values. And now, Grant Peeples with Clay Tablets.
Dieses deutsche Volk emporführen durch eigene Arbeit, durch eigenen Fleiß, eigene Entschlossenheit, eigenen Trotz, eigene Beharrlichkeit, dann werden wir wieder emporsteigen, genau wie die Väter einst auch Deutschland nicht geschenkt erhielten, sondern selbst nicht schaffen mussten.
General Johannes Steinhoff is a leading Luftwaffe ace who later becomes head of NATO's military committee. His face shows the scars of combat.
Please bear in mind, Hitler came to power the very moment radio was invented. And Hitler was using radio in a very clever way. After 1 year, after Hitler became Chancellor of Germany, we had the so-called Peeples receiver. This was a small radio. Each family was having this in their kitchen. So the Führer could talk on a daily basis to his people. He was using, for the first time, the media in a very clever way, using radio in an extensive way. So the medium radio, thank God he didn't have television, was a tremendous tool in his hand.
Well, Jesus was revolutionary. He died in the electric chair of his day. He broke bread with them beggars, whores, and sinners, and he pissed off the rich with the things that he'd say. Well, Jesus weren't no citizen distinction, didn't pledge allegiance to your nation's flag. He come to town on the back of a donkey, searching for a stone upon which to rest his head. Long ago now in a land of Galilee, come a man with a beard, long hair and dirty feet. They didn't like things he said, they didn't like things he taught, so they marched him up a hill and they nailed him to a cross. Yeah, Jesus was a revolutionary. He died in the electric chair of his day. He broke bread with them beggars, whores, and sinners, and he pissed off the rich with the things that he'd say. Well, Jesus, well, Jesus weren't no real estate investor. Didn't have a pension or an IRA. He laid up all his treasures there in heaven. Then he died in the electric chair of this day. Long ago now in a land of Galilee, come a man with a beard, long hair and dirty feet. They didn't like things he said, they didn't like things he taught. So they marched him up a hill and they nailed him to a cross. Yeah, Jesus was a revolutionary. He died in the electric chair of his day. He broke bread with them beggars, whores, and sinners, and he pissed off the rich with the things that he'd say. Well, Jesus was a radical. He had a socialist agenda. Divvied up the bread and fish and he give it all away. He weren't no member of the Chamber of Commerce. No, he turned over tables where those deals got made at. Long ago now in a land of Galilee, come a man with a beard, long hair and dirty feet. They didn't like things he said, they didn't like things he taught. So they marched him up a hill and they nailed him to a cross. Yeah, Jesus was a revolutionary. He died in the electric chair of his day. He broke bread with them beggars, whores, and sinners, and he pissed off the rich with the things that he'd say. Yeah, Jesus was a revolutionary, and he died in the electric chair of his. That's a song I recorded on my second record, which was called Pawn Shop. It's also a song that got me pretty much tossed out of the Ochlockonee River Bluegrass Festival in 2011. We're going to do some cartoons now from my friend Zeke Williamson, who lives, I call him Zeke of Augustine. He lives in St. Augustine. I think he is probably the most relevant cartoonist on the planet now, and he's got almost 100 followers on the Instagram. You need to follow him. It's at Ping Pong Lessons on Instagram. Let's show a few of these, Pete. Let's show some of these latest ones he's got. This is, now bear in mind when Zeke does these are all on about 3 inches by 3 inches. But this is the labyrinth of the president. And I would love to have that enlarged for my wall. I'm going to talk to Zeke about that. Got another one here. I'm not really sure which one's going to come up. He does Mitch McConnell better than anybody, and I really like this because I really think that the thought here in McConnell's mind is really kind of has been the thought in the 71 million people who did not vote for Joe Biden. We got another one here. We got 2 more. Let's see what this one is. The great symbology of the snake eating its tail. Notice how it plays with the little orange hair. I think we have one more. It's not just the outcome of the won election, but the income of the lost election. Ching. Which has become blatantly obvious that raising money for the Election Defense Fund is really nothing other than a way to raise money to help cover the $450 million owed to banks of unknown origins. I'm going to read a little thing here I wrote this not too long ago, and so much of what I write is kind of inspired by a conversation I had with my father. Now, this is I call it a poem, but it doesn't rhyme. It's really kind of a story, and it's called The Truth Game. There is a football game between the blue team and the red team. The stadium is full of fans, and half the people are pulling for the red team and half for the blue team. The score is tied, and the final seconds are ticking off the clock. Then the red team throws a Hail Mary pass to the end zone. There's a catch, but the receiver's right foot is very close to the line. Half the people in the stadium, the fans of the blue team, stand up and scream, "He was out of bounds!" And the other half, the red team, stand up and scream, "Touchdown!" How is this possible? How can perception be so varied? It's because this is our relationship to the truth. Our eyes are not searching for it. Instead, the eyes have abandoned the search for truth and are now doing the bidding of the heart. Hey, Pete, can you check in with Donna? Is she on the line by any chance? Donna, are you there?
I'm here.
Hey, very good to hear you. Well, the phones are working tonight. How's the feed going there, the people there on the...
I think everybody's having a really good time. A lot of fellow performers are on, like Cindy Simmons, Steve Wojcicki's on here. Wild Man Steve Bronson's on here.
Oh, wow.
It's a lively crowd.
Oh, well, good. Well, but you got everybody, their link and all that's working?
I think so. And last I checked my email and my text messages, there wasn't anybody crying. So.
How is everything in Georgia with this election? I mean, are you seeing any advertisement? You seeing any ads on your television?
Oh my God! You don't even have to ask. We're being bombarded. Yeah. I mean, I will literally see 6 in a row between television shows. I watch even less TV now.
Yeah. And how is? I really wanted to ask you about Mercy. I mean, how old is she now? Your granddaughter?
She is 21 months today.
So has she got any grasp of what's going on with Christmas this year? Is that
No, she is super curious and exploratory, I guess is the word. She doesn't know what it is. They're not talking to her about Santa Claus or anything, but she just loves all the decorations and stuff, and she explores them and plays with them, and she can tell something's up, but not the details.
All right. Well, we should have tossed a picture up here of Mercy while we're talking, but I think there's one somewhere coming, so maybe we'll pick that up. All right. Well, we're going to keep going. We'll get back to you a little bit later, and we do a transition after we talk to Donna, who is my manager and my co-producer on this program. But she is also, before she ran into me, before she quit her day job to come do this. She was a librarian, so I always like to seg from our little talk to our librarian into our new little segment we've been doing a few episodes now called New Words Grant Has Recently Learned.
Vocabulary, say that out loud. Vocabulary, that's what it's about. Vocabulary, that's what it's about.
All right. So what's happened is I've been reading so much media lately. I subscribe to the Times and the Washington Post and the Wall Street Journal and the Miami Herald, and so I'm doing a lot of reading of newspapers. I'm running into a lot of new words, and so I just decided I was going to try to share some of the words I'm trying to learn. Just because I come and bring them here today does not mean I actually know this word, but this is my attempt to learn a few words. And the first one is confabulate, which is to talk casually or to chat. But when I heard it was used in a psychology sphere or in a psychological term, which is to fill in gaps in one's memory or knowledge with fabrications that one believes to be true. And the sentence I came up with is, totally ignorant of the science involved, he once again simply confabulated while addressing the nation, or chose to confabulate while addressing the nation. And here's another word. This is a legal term, dispositive. Never had heard this. Confabulate was vaguely familiar, but this is relating to the settlement of an issue. Generally a legal issue, and here's the sentence I came up with. In spite of all his harangues and claims of fraud, nothing dispositive was presented to any court of law. Okay, now this next word is kind of tricky because every now and then this happens to me as I see the word and I'll look it up and I'll use it in sentences and I still don't really think I understand what the hell it is. But this word is epistemic. And it means relating to knowledge or to the degree of its validation. And the sentence I came up with this, focused solely on self-aggrandizement. There was zero regard for building an epistemic regime. So anyhow, I came up with all of this, and I still wasn't satisfied. So I called my friend Bill, who is my mullet fishing friend. And he's a mullet fisherman, but he's really good with words. And so I called him up. And I texted him and I said, how do you use this word? And he wrote me back. He said, epistemic is a philosophical term having to do with how we know what we know, or whether we know what we know, or whether it's even possible to know what we know, or whether we really know nothing. And it's so much like a little dog chasing its tail. I believe it is a term they made up so that they could all be in a secret club that knows the word means nothing. And consequently, they can feel superior to the rest of us who spend their lives trying to figure out what the hell it means. That's our little episode, our little segment of new words Grant has recently learned.
Vocabulary, vocabulary, say that loud, loud. Vocabulary, vocabulary, that's what it's about. Vocabulary, vocabulary, that's what it's about.
Our guest tonight is John McCutcheon. And John is a guy that I've known for a few years, and he's been really kind to me and let me open a few shows for him. And I got very interested. I heard he had made a new album during the pandemic, and I went and kind of checked it out, and there was a song there that I just fell in love with. If had I known about this song, it would have been the theme song for Clay Tablets. And so Donna got John on the phone to see if he would be our guest, and he said he would be happy to. And so I'm going to play us. We're going to play you a video of a song that he wrote called 100 Years.
100 years from now, my great-great-grandchildren's time, will it bear any resemblance to this world of mine? This place of boundless beauty, wonders bright and bold, I can't possibly imagine what the time ahead might hold. Each day I am more of the past. The future is not mine, and I know that what is left me now is for the next in line. Have we packed well for the journey, done all that we could, or in trying to be great again, forgotten to be good? I saw the handprint on the cave wall, reaching from the past. I wonder just what kind of ancestor I might be at last. 100 years from now, my great-great-grandchildren's day, I hope they'll find the breadcrumbs I've left along the way. Just over the horizon, a place I cannot go. This message in a bottle from a century ago.
You could see why that would be the theme song for Clay Tablets. All right, now we get to one of the more exciting points in the Clay Tablets program. As everybody knows, this is when everybody kind of gets a little tense, because this is when we make the phone call. Call John McCutcheon.
Just to confirm, you'd like to...
Yeah.
Calling now.
Hello,
John McCutcheon.
Grant Peeples.
How are you? I've been doing pretty good. How about you?
Well, I've been doing as well.
Yeah. We just, I got a couple hundred people listening to you here, and we all just listened to this song that you wrote called 100 Years. And I told the audience that I really think it could have been the theme song for Clay Tablets. It's the song is kind of a self-described message in a bottle to your great-grandchildren. I think, all of us, all artists, at least I think the good ones or the ones who try to be good feel a kind of a sense of responsibility for, putting stuff down for future generations as some kind of breadcrumbs, as you called them. How is this feeling, though, about this? I mean, we've always had this. Is this feeling about that responsibility or that job or that task, has it changed for you during the last 10 months? Has it become more acute, more focused?
Well, I think I've just had more time to sit with it. I came back in mid-March from a tour in Australia to a very different country than I'd left 3 weeks earlier. Because I had been on the other side of the world and then in an airplane for, well, first of all, I was in Australia where, this had not surfaced as a concern at all. Mm-hmm. So I was at festivals and having people sling their arms around my shoulder and say, hey, let's take a photo, mate. And been in concert halls and just reacting normally. And then I got on a plane for 24 hours, which was like a flying petri dish. Mm-hmm. And I got home, and my 89-year-old mother-in-law lives with us. So I thought the only responsible thing to do was to go up to a little cabin that my wife, who's also a writer, and I have up in the North Georgia mountains, and I stayed there for 3 weeks just to, quarantine myself. Mm-hmm. And I had the time to write, and it's interesting because I think there were two things that happened, Grant. One was I had been really spending a lot of time writing about my ancestors. Mm-hmm. So I was kind of looking through the other end of the telescope. Right. And getting that down, both my own impressions, and to let my kids and grandkids know where they came from. Right.
But I hear what you're saying, but about having the time. But I've been talking to a lot of artists and a lot of them on the show, and kind of proposed this same question. And I have to tell you, a lot of us have felt paralyzed by the time. I mean, it's almost like a chicken and egg question. Has the pandemic and the social and political unrest inspired you to work, or has the work been more of a kind of a coping mechanism to deal with it? But have you not felt the being paralyzed by this? I mean,
no, not at all. Mm. No, it's interesting. The closest parallel I can think of is after 9/11. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people I knew were just, at least for a while, completely paralyzed artistically. And me, I was writing my head off. one of the things, I said there were two things that were happening. The other thing is a lot of my elders are gone now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when Pete Seeger died, he was kind of the last in the line of people who had been my elders and mentors. And I remember talking to Tom Paxton, who was one of the last dogs standing, at 83. And he said, well, you're one of the club now, and it made me start looking at younger people in a different way.
Right.
And I'm a grandparent, so I'm thinking that way anyway.
Right.
But it's been incredibly freeing to be able to have this kind of 360-degree palette.
Right. Did you write a record in three? Did you do a whole record in 3 weeks? Is that what I gathered? That you went up there and all these?
I didn't mean to, Grant.
Right.
Really.
Right. Right.
But I wrote every day, and you as a writer, I'm sure, know that, if you do that, it's like going to the songwriter's gym.
Right.
That muscle becomes stronger,
Right.
and every day you sit down and, well, that was pretty good. Where'd that come from?
So you were springing to the canvas every morning to.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was unlike any. When you're on the road, being on the road is simple. Your only job is to the gig. At home, you got to cut the lawn, you got to take care of people, and you have chores and all this kind of stuff. Up at the cabin, I didn't have anything. It was just me and my dog. So I had the time, and I was fascinated by this creative surge that was happening, and I didn't want to lose it. So yeah, I ended up writing 18 usable songs and have written probably 50 or 60 since.
Wow.
Just because, the juices are flowing. So, as a songwriter, there's fewer things in the world more exciting than writing a song.
What about your gigs? What is the next date on your calendar out? I mean, have you actually said, okay, damn it, I'm going to take a shot here and say October or something? Have you done that? Do you have dates on the books?
I have, I have dates in the books, hopefully in September. We'll see.
Right.
I mean, I have my songwriting camps at Highlander that I do, and I have one booked for June, one for July, and one for August. And they were all, of course, canceled this year, and people were chomping at the bit, and Highlander, of course, was chomping at the bit. So we put them on the calendar, and we've got our fingers and toes crossed and said anybody who comes has to have a vaccine, have to have taken the vaccine, get tested before you come, and all this. But yeah, as far as getting out in front of a bunch of people,
right?
Who knows, really?
Right.
We're the last piece of the workforce that's going to be going back to work.
That's exactly right. We're the most non-essential. I guess they would consider us the most non-essential you could contrive of as far as.
Well, part of it is as a promoter, are you going to take the chance that you're going to do all the advertising and everything, and people are good. Nobody knows what the average person who goes to a concert now is going to feel like in September or November or January 2022. So I think it's going to be different. I think these online concerts and the kind of good work that you're doing, they're here to stay.
Right.
And I mean, I got to admit, I haven't been home for 9 or 10 months in a row ever. Right. Since I was, 16 and living with my parents.
It's kind of nice, isn't it?
I like it a lot better than I thought it would.
Yeah, Carrie Elkin was on, and she shared the same thing. It was it was surprising how quick we kind of did settle into that part of it.
Well, I was talking to my buddy David Holt the other day, and we were kind of comparing notes, and he said, "How did we ever do that? How did we ever get on a plane every weekend and leave our families and miss the blue and gold banquet and Christmas parties? Because we're people's free time."
Yeah. Well, I've got one more. I got one more question. First of all, I just want to know what is the name. I want to be able to share the name of the record in it because it slipped my mind, but I've listened to the whole thing. Donna's listened to it 10 times. And what is the name of it?
It's called Cabin Fever.
Cabin Fever, and it is available now. I mean, people can get it if they.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
Well, what I did, I mean, one of the things that happens is we're inventing all kinds of new ways to do things. So it's a download only.
Okay.
And it's a pay what you want.
Right.
Because I know there's lots of people who don't have work and they need music too. So
right.
that's
how
a lot of people are paying a lot more than they would normally pay, and I think it's just to support us.
Right.
But yeah, Cabin Fever, songs from the quarantine.
Okay. So I got one more question. So, I've seen your performances, and they are. It's not just a guy with 18 instruments playing 18 songs. I mean, they're kind of scripted. They're narrative, and I was wanting to know, just figure you got your first concert in September. Do you see, is there a narrative? Is there a kind of a new message? Is there anything what's the first thing you want to say to an audience?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming back. Thank you for waiting for me.
Right.
Thank you for being there in this interim when we want to be together so much. We're willing to watch concerts on our computers
right.
and our iPads and phones and stuff. I think that, it's going to be where have we been? How have you been? This is what I thought about. This is what I wrote about. This is what might come ahead of us. It's going to be a beautiful thing to get in a room with a group of people, believe me.
Well, I can't wait, and I can't wait to see you. And I really appreciate you coming on with. And that record is Cabin Fever, and it is available. It's online, and all of these 18 songs, including the one that we played tonight.
Yeah. Well, listen, thank you, buddy.
Thank you so much, John.
You stay healthy.
Yeah.
Love you.
All right, thank you so much. Love you. All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye. John McCutcheon. And now, a number. This is the number that we showed on our last episode, which was November 15th, I believe. And this is something that I really wish we had started in March when we started this program. But this is the number of Americans who have died from COVID-19 as of November 15th. And then we have another number. This is today that I just took off the CDC website about 3 hours ago. This is the number of Americans to date on December 15th who have died in America. And when you do the math, this is the number of people who have died since I last saw you guys here in the studio. It's 51,000. That's pretty much the number of people who died and a number of American soldiers who died in Vietnam. You can do all kind of things with these numbers. I do want to say my friend Dennis Devine, songwriter out of Central Florida, lost his mother. Nellie, who is the promoter of the Gamble Rogers Folk Festival, lost her grandmother this week to COVID. And I will also say that my father, during Thanksgiving, the week before Thanksgiving came down, was tested positive for COVID-19 and was ill throughout Thanksgiving and through his 90th birthday on December 2nd. But the good news is he is back, 90 years old, and he kicked COVID's ass. All right. So, on another note, Christmas, we decided to do a little prompt for some children to find out, I'm very concerned about, the first thing I asked Donna was about her granddaughter, about how children are looking at Christmas this year. And we just decided we were going to ask some kids about what they wanted for themselves and what they wanted for the world. And Donna produced this little segment right here of some clay tabletier children.
What is the thing you most want for yourself this Christmas?
I want a phone because I feel left out. How everybody in this house, except for our pets obviously, has like a phone.
Well, what is the thing you most want for the world for Christmas?
I want our Earth to be healthy.
What is the thing you want most for yourself for Christmas?
A 2000 Red Ryder BB gun.
A Jamba Squishmallow.
A guitar for my size.
Okay. What is the one thing you want most for the world to get for Christmas?
Love.
COVID-19 end.
Pandemic to end.
Okay.
What is the thing that you want most for yourself for Christmas?
The first thing I would say is PS4 VR. I want it because I can play VR stuff and PS4 and have really cool experiences in the game. And the second thing I would say is stick bots. I want stick bots because I like to play with stick bots with one of my friends.
Yeah. Okay, well, what is the thing that you want most for the world for Christmas? How about that?
I would say family because, Christmas isn't really about presents and stuff. It's about family.
What is it you most want for yourself this Christmas?
Well, I wouldn't really say it's for myself, but what I want is a mountain bike for my dad so we can go mountain biking together.
And what do you most want for the world to get?
I think we should help the people that can't afford houses and stuff and give them some money instead of using money into the military. We should be saving lives instead of ending lives.
What's one thing you want for solstice for yourself this year?
My goggles.
More goggles?
Mhm.
Okay. And what's one thing you wish for the world this year on solstice?
Fruit trees
Fruit trees?
all over the world.
Okay.
Gracie, if you could choose one gift for Christmas this year for yourself, what would it be?
To meet to loved ones that passed away that I never met before.
Oh, I love that. All right. What about if you were able to choose a gift for the whole world?
It would be to cure cancers and diseases.
That would help a lot of people, wouldn't it?
All right, Maisie, Papa and I have a question for you. We were wondering, what is the thing you most want for yourself for Christmas?
A toy.
A toy?
Yes.
And what is the thing you most want for the world for Christmas?
Snow.
Okay, so what do you want this year for solstice for yourself?
Laser tag guns.
Laser tag guns. And what do you want for the world?
No jails.
Okay.
Oh, that's Maisie right there. That was Maisie. Thank you to all the parents who did that. Hard to tell what my favorite one was, but I kind of like, I think it's Zeus, and who said he laser tag guns and no jails. And then if you didn't get a tear in your eye for the little fella that wanted a mountain bike for his dad so his dad could ride with him. My friend, I'm just gonna play this song. Dear Judas, well, I've been mean and right. Things have gotten kind of crazy. I hope that these lines find you well enough. And the weather is good. I'd like to
come visit, and I would if I could. But see, Daddy's not well. He's ungodly depressed. He just stares out the window at his world all day. Dear Judas, I don't know what to say. And I thought of you, Judas, when they drove those nails through the palms of my hands. Have you ever considered what it took to forgive you? What I went through to forgive you, dear Judas? And dear Judas, well, I've been meaning to write. I hope you've enjoyed your blameless life. But man, you sold yourself short. It was your hand to lose. I guess your heart spoke when it had to choose. So now you're groaning and travailing. It is all in your past, and I hope that your spirit found its way. Dear Judas, well, that's all I got to say. Judas. Without him, we wouldn't even have Christmas, I don't guess. I'm going to do a little local story here. I consider it more of an allegory than to kind of what's going on in the country. I'm just going to tell you a little about something that happened in Tallahassee in the last couple of weeks. The story begins the night before Thanksgiving, on the Wednesday. And it begins at a nightclub here in Tallahassee called The Moon on Lafayette Street. And they had a party there that night, a highly promoted bash. It was sold out. Holds over 1,000 people in that building. This is the poster that promoted it. It said, you had to get your ticket now. And the night of this big party in which everything was packed, there was a man working at the front door named Bo Williams. Bo had worked for the Moon for over 30 years. He was the head of security. He's loved by everybody. And that was on Wednesday night, and on Friday, Bo began to not feeling so well. And then on December 4th, which was however many days later, they had another party at the Moon, and this is a picture from that. We don't have pictures from the other one that I took from the Moon website. You can see everybody in there, packed in there, no mask, for an event called Stetson's on the Moon. And that is the manager there on the right. His name is Jack Carswell. He is the son of the president of the Moon. And that very night, December 4th, while everybody was in there partying and having a big time, again, Bo Williams died of COVID-19. Now, all of those pictures that we showed you there, once I kind of locked onto that and began sharing with people here in Tallahassee what was going on, the Moon went and scrubbed all of those from their Facebook pages and websites. But also, one thing they didn't scrub, because it wasn't there, was anything even acknowledging the death of this man who had worked for them for 30 years. Now, there's acknowledgments of things such as, employees who got little bit parts in a movie or something like that, but no mention at all of Bo. So I just wanted to tell you that. I see this is kind of an allegory to what is going on in our country and certainly in this state right here because of the governor we have. So Fred Bonig for the whole life of my career has been very close and influential and been a big
friend of mine helps me. He's a record promoter and a DJ, and he's kind of just a get-it-doneer kind of guy. And every year, right around the summer, he just starts hounding me to death about writing a Christmas song. He says, I just never had a Christmas song. So 3 years ago, when it came around to summer, he says, you got to write a Christmas song. And I said, okay. And I really kind of just leaned into it, and I wrote a song. But what happened is it didn't turn. It ended up being an Easter song, and but I went ahead and recorded it, and it's called "Treason is the Reason Behind the Easter Season." We have a video of it here. We're going to show to you. It was shot in Austin, Texas.
Well, the days are getting longer, and my heart's begun to wander. Gonna journey to Jerusalem, toss my crown into the ring. Gonna turn some tables over, rest the world upon my shoulders. I can tell the time has come for me to sing. Yes, treason is the reason behind this Easter season. Rise up, rise up, rise up against Rome. Yes, treason is the reason behind this Easter season. Rise up against Rome. I found that I could raise the dead and barely even turn the heads of the masses so distracted by the things they can't afford. You lost sheep are like lambs to slaughter, galley slaves and cannon fodder. Rise up and turn your plowshares into swords. Yes, treason, it's the reason behind this Easter season. Rise up, rise up, rise up against Rome. Yes, treason is the reason behind this Easter season. Rise up against Rome. Can you hear her restless breathing? Is it not clear she's grown weary of the havoc you have wrought? That myth about a bloody moon, a rugged cross, my empty tomb. Sacred symbols of the very things you've lost. Yes, treason is the reason behind this Easter season. Rise up, rise up, rise up against Rome. Yes, treason is the reason behind this Easter season. Rise up against Rome. Rise up.
Treason is the reason. That was shot Austin, Texas by Chris Green, who actually is the promoter of that event, which we hope will get going again. And the guy on the guitar, that's Gurf Morlix. And without being hyperbolic, I just want to share that there's probably nobody in the world who could play that guitar solo as well as he does. All right. So, and you can see like that song, you can see how I started out with the Christmas song and it just went to that. I haven't really ever been able to write the Christmas song. I'm still working on it. I got a lot of Jesus songs, But the Christmas thing hasn't really happened yet. But maybe next year, Fred, hang with me. All right, speaking of Christmas, as you know, as I said earlier, I was really concerned about how everything was going to go down this year. It's things are a little bit tense, and we just don't really know what's going to happen or what to expect. And I just figured out there's probably, if I really wanted to get to the bottom of it, there's no better way to do it than to just go straight to the horse's mouth, and that being Santa Claus. So it took time. My communications team took a little while to get Santa on a Zoom call. He's been really busy, but we finally did, and we got Santa on a Zoom call, and we're going to play that for you now. All right, Santa, wow, it's so good. I really appreciate you being on. And I guess the first thing I just have to ask is, everybody just wants to know, how are you and Mrs. Claus holding up during the pandemic up there in the North Pole? How have y'all been?
Well, ho. It's good to see you too. Things are getting tight.
Yeah.
Shit's getting real tight. We're down to the game plan is getting close to time to come see all you.
Well, is this but that, I guess that's my next question though. I mean, is Christmas really going to happen this year? There's been some people concerned that you might not be doing this thing.
Man, we like Florida. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it up.
So it has not been canceled.
Christmas has not been canceled on my behalf. No.
Well, can you tell me some of the things that children have been asking for this year that they have not asked for in the past? I mean, are there any special gifts that you're getting requests for this year that you haven't gotten that that are standouts?
Man, I tell you what, there's on a real level, there's probably been a lot of gifts that I can't give that kids have been asking for the families and things like that.
Yeah.
On a real. And then, you've got little Mikey over there asking for his stripper to come by him and see him.
Yeah.
I don't know how old little Mikey is. That's just what he goes by.
So how do you handle that if somebody asks for a stripper? How do you deal with that?
We got elf strippers back here.
Oh, you got elf strippers.
Yeah, man. They come in, they do their thing, and they hop up the damn chimney just as fast.
Right, I got you.
They come out, they even appear with a magic golden pole.
Right. I have a question for you. I mean, I was just kind of wanting to know, I know some years, you bring switches, and I just want to know if this year, are you still going to do the switches, and are there anybody that you can tell me about that's going to be getting switches that you might want to let me know about?
Well, we do still standard switches. Yes, we have those, and they do come packed up and wrapped up in coal along with them. Yeah. I can't really, because of the clause, I can't really say, who can get what.
Well, that's like a professional. It's just your professionalism.
That's right.
And you can't really do that. But
we can't say who's going to get those switches. But
well, can I ask you this? Do you ever have anybody that ask for switches?
Little Mikey asks for that shit all the time.
Yeah, really?
He be using them. He use them. So yeah. We got a lot of requests for stitches.
Okay. Well, so here's another question I have for you. Now, look, you try to bring something that everybody wants, but for years, I've always put stuff out for you by the Christmas tree. And I've just never really been sure if I've been putting out the right, when you come down that chimney, if you've been out, you just been going all night, and you come down the chimney and you hit the living room, and
And here's the what is it you really like to see, like when you come down? What really you want to see?
I need to go ahead and set this damn record straight. Everybody thinks that I like milk and cookies.
Right.
I do like milk and cookies, but not the way you think I like milk and cookies.
Okay.
My milk and cookies come from Miss Claus. Now, I got to pay her milk and cookies because Miss Claus is right around the corner, and she was to hear me talking about, little Mikey's hoes over there and their milk and cookies. I can't go into that. Anyway, milk and cookies, what I really would like to see, hell, why don't y'all leave a brother some money or some pictures? Some you got grandmas over there. Give me something to look at. Santa may be old, but his ass still like to party.
I see.
Leave me some. Look, little Mikey left me this. Homeboy know what's up. By the way, I almost this bitch up in little Mikey's honor. I hope y'all don't mind, but damn it,
Santa. But if you smoke while you're out working, do you ever get lost?
Man, I tell you what, the elves are so good. They got me this damn GPS. I don't even have to drive. I barely have to deliver gifts. Get through my thick ass beard. Yeah, we got it set up now, man. This is 2020.
Right, so you don't have any trouble getting lost. That's not anything that ever happens to you.
Only on the good times.
I got you. Well, okay, so I just want to know, is there anything before we go here? I want to know, is there any message that you want to send out to all the little boys and girls out there who are counting on you to deliver? Is there anything you want us to is there anything you would like to be able to say to them tonight?
Yeah, love your people really good. Love them like they ain't no tomorrow, because there may not be no tomorrow. Instead of asking for how about doing some
Wow, Santa, that's a pretty heavy duty message there. I mean, you're coming,
I'm the one that's gonna give freely.
Uh-huh.
You should give freely too. That's what I think the whole message got turned around. We should be doing.
I got you. So
you receive.
I see. So you consider the fact that you're out giving, you're just trying to set a giving example. You're just trying to get other people to emulate what it is that you're doing. I got you. Okay, well, listen, I know you got a lot of work to do. It looks like you're really busy, and it looks like you got a lot going on, and we just want you to please say hello to Mrs. Claus and all those elves. And what about Rudolph? Is he on board this year?
Oh yeah. Things are looking tight, and he normally he's on normal rotation these days. All the kids like to see him. You can hear all the kids. They think they see him because they drive down the road, and the parents be like, "Look, there's Rudolph. That's a damn power line or some some kind of telephone pole or a radio station."
I got you.
Real Rudolph, he'll be up there.
Okay. Well, we look forward to seeing you, and we just want you to make sure you travel safe. Wear your mask, Santa Claus, when you're coming into these houses. You need to wear your mask and maybe hit a little hand sanitizer before you go back up the chimney.
That's what we always do. The elves take care of that.
Okay. All right. We'll see you later. Have a Merry Christmas and travel safe.
Merry Christmas, brother.
We had to bleep Santa. He was under duress, I guess, so we had to come in and duck quack some of his more volatile language. So we're going right from Santa. We're going to viewer mail. So the mailbag was light this month, and I think it's because I just didn't encourage people to write and ask me some questions, but it could be because the mail's backed up. I have a feeling I'm going to go to my mailbox next week and we'll have all these letters, people asking me questions they want answered. So we only really had 2 letters this month, and one was from my good friend Linda Young over in Navarre, Florida. She's a planetary warrior. She's just a hard-ass, badass environmentalist. And she wrote me, and she just said, Grant, I just want to let you know I've been thinking about your clay tablets project. And to me, you're telling stories about this time for future retelling. Some say that next year will start as 1 AC. That's like after COVID. A totally different paradigm. We definitely need to be creating a record for future generations so they have an idea of what it was like BC, before COVID. Your stories and music and poems need retelling from now into the future. That's how I read it. Thank you so much, Linda. And thank you, Linda. I just really appreciate you writing so much. And then one other letter came from Hank in Dripping Springs, Texas, which is out there near Austin. And I really appreciate this. He said, Grant, thanks so much for your show. When I heard about the hurricanes hitting Nicaragua last month, I was worried about your friends down there. Have you heard from them? Are they okay? And yes, Little Corn Island, the winds got up to about 100 miles an hour there, but the real brunt of those 2 hurricanes passed just to the north, thankfully. And what I was able to do is people down there, when I moved to that island, there were no phones there, there was no internet, there was no electricity, there was no running water, there was none of that. Mail took, my mother's letters to me took 5 weeks to get there. But now I'm able to be in contact, and there's a young woman there by the name of Sasha. And when I moved down there, Sasha was a little girl, but now she's on the Facebook, and I was able to write Sasha on Facebook. And she wrote me back, but I was so pleased that when she wrote me back, she didn't write me back a note. She actually sent me a voice recording. And we're going to play that, but I just first want to say that, part of my infatuation and part of my love and my passion for that little island that I lived on for 11 years had to do with the language and the languages that were spoken there. It was a tiny little island of about 300 people when I moved there, and there were 4 languages that were spoken. They spoke English and Spanish, Mosquito, and there were people there who spoke Garifuna. There were essentially 4 languages that got spoken there. And this Creole, what you're going to hear when Sasha sent me this sweet little voice message telling me that everything's pretty much okay on Little Corn Island.
The beaches are gone. That's for sure. There's no beach right now. The bank wash away a lot too. In front of Elsa house there, it's just like a little piece from the sidewalk that left over, maybe like a 3 foot. But everything is gone. But well, like I said before, thank God, everyone is okay. That's the good part.
It just warms my heart. So yeah, everything is okay on Little Corn Island, and I've seen pictures. A lot of all the bananas got blown down. What they call suckers, every banana quadrado and plant and all of that got blown down, and a lot of beaches. I'm really curious about what you were able to understand. I played that for my dad the other day, and he said he couldn't really understand what she was saying. But anyhow, that was from Sasha, and that's our viewer mail this month. Now write me, people, for our next episode. So this is another story we're going to tell. It's kind of a local story, but it's actually a national story, and it has gotten some national attention, but it took place right here in Tallahassee. We start in May of the story kind of begins in May of this year. when a young woman by the name of Rebecca Jones, who was working for the Department of Health and who had built a COVID dashboard for the state. She is a statistician, a number cruncher. That's what she does. And she had built this dashboard that had all of the pertinent COVID information in there because it was designed to have operative information in there that would help our state leaders know when and when not, according to CDC guidelines, to be into reopening certain communities and certain segments of communities, bars, restaurants, schools, etc. So she started this thing when the pandemic began, and then in May, she got fired. And the reason she got fired was because she was not putting the data that the governor wanted on that dashboard, and she refused to change that data because they wanted the data to present another story, and she refused to do it. So she was fired. She was fired for insubordination in May. She actually, after she got fired, there were some groups came together, I think it was a GoFundMe, and got her some money to where she could continue doing this important work. And she has continued to do it right up until last week. And what happened last week was the Florida Department of Law Enforcement showed up at her door and seized her computer and her phone and made an allegation that she had sent an unauthorized group text through a Department of Health messaging system. And this was supposed to be used in emergencies only. And I just want to say that I want to tell you that the message that got sent out, which she says she did not send out, was, "It's time to speak up before another 1,700 people die. You know this is wrong. You don't have to be a part of this. Be a hero. Speak up before it's too late." Now, she denies having sent that out because she said there's no way I would have sent that out because the number 17,000 is not right. It's 17,430, and she says I would have never rounded down those numbers. I would have not have done that to those people. And so anyhow, we're going to show you what happened at her house. She set up a camera when they came in, and she was able to get this video. This is in Tallahassee.
Come outside. Outside.
Who else is in the house, ma'am?
My 2 children and my husband. Where's your husband at?
Calm down. Calm down.
You want the children down?
Call them all down.
Mr. Jones, come down the stairs. Now!
Police, come down now!
Pointing his gun upstairs.
Down the stairs.
My children!
Glenn, hang on, let me clear the
He
house.
just pointed a gun at my children!
Search warrant.
There's other video footage that was actually taken by body cameras outside her door. And so, as I said, that was what she was allegedly had sent this email out. Now, it has been found out that she was accused of going on the server and sending an email out to people who were on that server. But the truth is that the password, that anybody who had gone to that website could have done what she's done. Now, all of that's been taken down and redacted, but people have taken pictures of the very information that proves that anybody could have done what she was accused of having done, but she said she did not do. And I just want to finish up that Rebecca Jones made a statement, and she said, "This does not shut me down. If DeSantis did not learn the first time he tried to defame and threaten me that it didn't work, he's about to learn it now." As my dad said, she's got balls. Rebecca Jones. Stay tuned into that story. It is an important one. What she says it was all bullshit, that they weren't interested in her computer, but what they were interested in was her phone, which they also took, which she did not use would not have needed to commit that crime she said she didn't commit. But they took her phone, and she says the reason they came there was to get her phone because they wanted to know who she was contacting, who she was talking with in the Department of Health, and that they're out to get those people. That was her assertion. Let's check back in with Donna, Pete, if we can. Is Donna there on the line?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, Donna.
Where else would I be on this?
I don't know. Was that Mercy? Was that Mercy? That was Mercy. You had to slide your granddaughter into the video, I guess.
That was Mercy. She was playing in the Christmas ornament.
Okay, I want to tell you.
Pretty.
Okay, you have to tell me the truth. Did you try to ask her what she wanted? Did you try? You tried to get a video out of her. You did, didn't you?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
She was speaking an alien language, so
Okay.
maybe next year.
Yeah, maybe next year we'll get one out of her. So everybody wants to know. I mean, it's starting to get cold. I have seen some birds. We need a little bit of a bird report here. Pete's going to put up a picture. This is a mockingbird. It's a very Now, mockingbirds don't really come much to my feeder because I don't. They what are you putting out there that the mockingbirds are eating? Do you know what they're?
Well, the feed I've been using has corn and millet in it.
They don't. It
also has peanuts, and that's what most of the birds like are the nuts.
Huh. All right. And what about so now? And then we have some. What is?
But can I just say
Oh,
about that picture?
Yeah.
Isn't it beautiful? I had someone say, "You didn't take that out your window," but I did. That bird let me get about 4 inches away from him, and I just took that with my iPhone. So.
Kudos on your photo. I apologize for not giving you a high five for your photo. Okay. So here, these are these next photos of these little yellow birds. This is. These are.
You helped me identify those. There could have been several things, but they're newcomers, and I think maybe the colder weather's bringing them.
Yeah.
And there's the male on the right, female on the left, and they're American goldfinch. I believe I've done that properly.
Yeah, you got. And so, so have you seen any other birds that you haven't been to get a picture of yet?
There's a group of little sparrows that are showing up like 4 at a time that haven't been before, and they just started, and I haven't been able to get them yet.
And they will wipe out the millet. All right. Well, good job on that. Good job on the video you produced, and thank you so much. And wishing you a Merry Christmas up there. Does Thomasville, when you go downtown, does it look Christmassy? I mean, is everybody? I mean, it's just
Yeah, it's still pretty Christmassy, but I will say there's less decoration because they did have the good sense to cancel Victorian Christmas, which is a huge event in this town that brings 20 or 30,000 people. It's hard to imagine. Then they just go shoulder to shoulder in the streets. So they did cancel that. So I believe there is less decorations because all the stores really turned out for that. But there's the regular street decorations, and people are out shopping today, mostly without masks.
Yeah.
So I stay home most of the time.
Okay. Well, Merry Christmas. Thank you so much for the video.
You're welcome. It's fun to do.
All right. Okay, so where are we now? I think we're going now to, is this Tweets from God, Pete? Is that what we're doing now? Are we all ready to Tweets from God? There's God. All right, let me see here. Okay, the first thing I have to say is, and this is the truth, God, since we were last here, God's Twitter account got hacked. And all I know is we don't know who did it, but my guess is there's going to be some serious repercussions for whoever hacked into God's Twitter account. And as I've told you before, I always have to tell the story that I was introduced to God in Winslow, Arizona in 2014 by Gurf Morlix, and I've been following God ever since. I'm going to breeze through here. We got some good ones. If you go to church today, the sermon will be How to Meet God in 2 or 3 weeks. Jesus just took the vaccine. He said the shot hurt his arm, but he's felt worse. Masks are for cowards afraid of COVID. Hairnets are for cowards afraid of hair in their food. Shoes are for cowards afraid of stickers. Toilet paper is for cowards afraid of fecal remnants. For all the things that divide you, there are many more things that unite you. Your imminent extinction, for example. Jesus said to him, if you want to be perfect, go, sell what you have and give to the poor, and you will have treasure in heaven, and come follow me. Matthew 19:21. And Chad responded, nah. Chad 2020. The worst part about getting hacked is now I have to erase and reset the entire universe. Trump supporters should feel completely disillusioned by the electoral system and never vote again. There's only one higher court Trump can go to now, and boy, am I ready. Say what you will about Donald Trump, but you have to admit he's a piece of shit. There is no vaccine against stupid, and if there were, the stupid wouldn't take it. And finally, heaven is blue, hell is red. Just saying. Those are some of our tweets from God this month. All right. Okay, well, we do have a Christmas song that we're going to finish up with tonight. And I want to thank everybody for being here tonight and once again for the support of this program that we've been doing. Tonight was 10. We have 2 more. And I am just so grateful to you who have supported this and kind of sustained me, as I've said before, not just financially, but creatively and spiritually. And even more important than any of that you supporting this is giving me a way to stay connected to you, the people from whom this whole career came, and for whom I continue to try to do like John McCutcheon and jump to the easel every morning. So we're going to finish up tonight with the song written by John Prine, and it is my favorite Christmas song. John Prine died of COVID. I believe it was April 7th of 2020. And leave it to John Prine. John Prine had, first time song I ever heard John Prine sing was a song called Sam Stone. And it wasn't a song about the Vietnam War. It was a song about people coming home from the Vietnam War. And Prine had that kind of eye. And this is a song about Christmas in prison. It was Christmas in prison, and the food was real good. We had turkey and pistols, they were carved out of wood. And I dream of her always, even when I don't dream, 'cause her name's on my tongue and her blood's in my stream. Well, wait a while, eternity. Well, oh, Mother Nature, she got nothing on me. And come to me, run to me, come to me now. Oh, we're rolling, my sweetheart, we're flowing by God. She reminds me of a chess game with someone I admire, or a picnic in a rainstorm after a prairie fire. And her heart, well, it's as big as this whole goddamn jail, and she's sweeter than saccharin in an old drugstore sale. And wait a while now, eternity. Well, oh, Mother Nature, she got nothing on me. And run to me, come to me, run to me now. Oh, we're rolling, my sweetheart, we're flowing by God.
And now the searchlight in the big yard, it swings round with the gun and the spotlights, the snowflakes like the dust in the sun. Yeah, it's Christmas in prison. There'll be music tonight. I will probably be horny. I love you. Good night.